Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of House Talk. And of course, we're at Ace Hardware, 6465 on 127th Street, otherwise known as 127th and Ridgeland Mall, right? And we have Dan Harris. Dan, thank
Welcome
you
back,
for
man.
allowing us to come back here. Dan Harris is the owner of Ace Hardware here. And what we're going to do, because we're so close to the spring,
Yes.
we're going to talk about all the great things that are about to come up. Lots of hard work, but he's going to try to make it easier for us. And so we're going to let Dan take it. He wants to start out with paints, and we're going to go on to many other items that he has in the store, and we're going to let Dan take it from there. Dan, I'm going to let you take it.
Okay, we're off and running. Well, as we begin to enter the spring season or think about spring, we're not there yet. It's still 30 degrees outside, but as we begin to think about that, some of the projects that kind of get focused on are repairs around the house, in doing some of the interior projects, and then stepping outside to the lawn and garden area or the patio area later. So one of the things that it seems like we really have had a lot of focus on the last couple of weeks is interior painting. So as you finish up the winter time, get that house prepped inside, we'll be talking about interior room painting. I like to say that it's kind of that last project that you finish before you start your spring stuff. So here at Payless Ace Hardware, we have a lot of different choices in the paint line. I think I'd like to say we have probably one of the best paint selections in the area because we carry Benjamin Moore paints. We also carry our Clark and Kensington, which is our Ace branded paint. We carry Valspar paints, which are all three different major brands of paints. But we also have just recently brought in a product. It's called Magnolia Homes, and I'm sure a lot of viewers are familiar with it. Magnolia Homes is a HGTV show, Chip and Joanna Gaines, and Joanna Gaines came up with her own line of paint, which basically uses a lot of the colors that she chooses to use on her HGTV show. So those are color matched palettes of paint. The paint is actually made by one of the major manufacturers, so the quality of the paint is way up there. It covers well, and the fact that you can get the colors that Joanna is actually using in her show, which are really designer colors. And we'll take a look at the palette rack, the color palette rack coming up. But in addition to that, the Benjamin Moore paints are some that I think are outstanding product, always requested product by most painting contractors. So that product comes in a couple different lines. We carry a couple different of their lines of paint. The first being the Aura paint, which is their top tier paint. It was developed a few years back as being one of the most premium lines of paint out in the paint industry. I have to say, it's probably a little bit on the pricier side, but the results are outstanding. I've never had anybody come back and say they didn't like the results. It goes on easier. The new hot topic in the painting industry is paint and primer in one. And this product truly is a paint and primer in one. The coverage, smoothness, the application of it is just absolutely outstanding. But like with any painting product, you always want to make sure the application is probably 75% of that. Actually, the results that you're going to get are going to be based on what you're using to apply it with. So we always try to tell people, make sure you're looking at the product, the paint product, but also look at the applicators too. Applicators being the rollers, the brushes, any of the trim pieces that go along with it, and then all the accessories you'll need to paint, which we carry all of those things. We can guide you through that process, giving you some better products that will give you professional results if you're really looking to try to get the best results you can, which I think most people are. We also can do a lot of different things with the paint product line right now, one of them being color matching. So if you have a color from another brand of paint that we don't carry, we have a computer system which actually allows us to color match that particular color in one of the paints that we do carry. So you're almost unlimited in terms of the color choices that you have out there in the paint product lines right now. And I'd like to always say that, I think we've covered about every color on the planet. So if you have something in mind, even if it's a fabric, you bring that fabric in, we can color match it. We have the computer technology in the paint industry has just changed in a very dramatic way in the last few years. Scanning abilities, scanning colors. You can take fabric right off of a piece of fabric and scan it into the machine. It will give you the exact color to that. The quality of the paint tints has improved dramatically. And one thing that really is probably the biggest changeover right now is the volatile organic compounds, or VOCs. That's kind of the key word right now you're hearing in the paint industry. And VOCs in past is really, I like to say it's the smell, what you smell in your house after you've gotten done painting. Usually your house will have that smell for a few days. Most of the paints today are almost without any smell because of the reduction of the VOCs. So the tint has improved, the VOCs are down, and it's a perfect time to paint. Your house is a little drier, paint covers well, dries out well, and you don't have all the smells in the house. So really, if you're really looking to try to get things rolling along, now's the time to do it. The one thing too is if you're not sure, really 100% sure of the color, you want to try a color, see a color you like, but you're not sure what in your house and the lighting versus the store lighting here, you can take that color and have a sample made. We have half-pint samples, which are basically the cans that look like this. We can mix those. We can mix those cans up, get them mixed to your color. If you want to try 2 or 3 colors together, mix them, and you're ready to go. So you've got the ability to sample that color, put it on the wall, try it, see it in your lighting with your furniture in your rooms, and you're ready to go. So that's one of the really big things right now. All of the paint companies offer those samples. And with us actually, if you take the sample, have us mix it, pay for the sample, we'll apply that sample credit when you come back to buy the paint. So it's a no-cost option to do it, and it really gives you the ability to look at it at your home. So those are some of the new things that we're talking about. And like I said, one of the things that, those are products that you can really work around your house. It's a good project to finish up the winter season, and the results will be outstanding. You'll feel like you're living in a new house. So as we begin to change, those are some of the things you might want to take a look at. So we'd like to maybe show you, just take a look at the rack of the Magnolia Home paints, just to kind of give you a flavor of what we're talking about in terms of the paint. So we can maybe take a walk over there and take a look at it, and Ron and I will meet you over there.
Okay, Dan, you were talking about Magnolia chips and the different colors and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Why don't you walk us through, Joanna Gaines came up with this scheme from HGTV, and now this thing has gone out to all the hardware stores, and I see you have yours. So why don't you explain this a little bit to the viewers?
So first we'll talk a little bit about the paint chip rack itself. With her design, everything here, every chip you see is designed to be matched with each other. So it's really a fully integrated paint system. Everything, if you pick one color here and you pick another color, those colors are actually color coordinated so that everything matches together. There's no, as you usually have, you have a whole different series of colors on a chip. All of her chips are meant to be mixed together. And that's really kind of the secret behind it. It's a very compatible paint chip rack. Her paints are very, very good. As you can see, the paints are by a company called Kills. Kills has been making paints for 50 years. The product is very one-coat coverage directed. I always hesitate a little bit on the one coat. If you're covering really deep, deep colors like reds or yellows, you tend to have to put a second coat on most any paints. But for the most part, the paint is a one-coat coverage. They make it in a couple different finishes. The matte, which is basically a flat finish, a satin finish, an eggshell finish, and a trim and cabinetry. So, one of the things that's actually become more popular in this area and maybe this time frame is the cabinet and trim paint, which is more a very smooth laying on of the paint. It covers with no runs or drips or anything else on it. So the Magnolia paint is really something we're proud of. If you have a preference in her color palette too, and you want us to mix it in another brand of paint, for instance, Benjamin Moore or Valspar, we can even do that. So there's a lot of different ways. We really want to be a full-service paint store for everybody, and I'm hoping with all of these changes that we've made, we've been making those over the last 6 months, 9 months in the paint department. You'll see a lot of those things, and we can help you, guide you through that process.
Okay, good. Let's move on to the next products.
Okay, absolutely.
Now, the next fun time for spring is cooking out, my favorite thing to do. And Dan, tell us about the latest technology. And I know Weber and Yeti has also come out with some, is it, oh no, Big Green Egg.
Well, that's
Another new technology.
Yeah,
So why
and-
don't you walk us through all that stuff rather than me ask you questions?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I think that we carry a pretty good selection of grills in our stores here, and probably carry the 3 product lines that I think really kind of are the latest generation of cooking. Weber being one of them. Weber's been around for a while, but I have to say that they're a company that's just continually innovating and coming up with new product, new ways to cook, and enjoy the backyard. That's probably the #1 stay-at-home project right now is cooking around the backyard. So we carry Weber, we carry the Big Green Egg, and we carry Traeger grills. And Traeger's our newest line that we just added last year. Traeger and Green Egg have been around for a while, but I'll be honest with you, the Green Egg product is hugely big marketplace in the southern states, but it's just kind of migrating up to the northern areas of the country.
And this is it right here.
This is it right here. What we're looking at is it's a ceramic type of a grill. It's all insulated ceramic, so that's really the key, so that you can cook either at many different ways of cooking, whether it's low and slow, which is really the true barbecue way of cooking a lot of the outdoor barbecue cooking. Low and slow, low temperature, slowly cooking it. So if you're doing briskets and you're doing any type of barbecue cook, that's the type of a thing you'll really find most often used for the Green Egg. The other side of the coin is that because it's so well insulated, you can actually cook at very high temperatures, which is really, you can get this, it has a thermometer on it. I have one at my own house, and the thermometer goes up to 700 degrees. I've had it up to 700
Wow.
degrees.
Wow.
So if you want to sear steaks, or if you want to cook, for instance, like a pizza, it cooks like a pizza oven. Most of the pizza ovens are a insulated ceramic type of a grill. One of the keys to the Green Eggs product is their charcoal itself. These are charcoal-fired grills. So only. So you're using a charcoal, but really the real key is it's an all-natural, all-hardwood charcoal. So you can light it. It lights very quickly. It burns much hotter, but it also burns much longer than a bag, say, for instance, of Kingsford type of a charcoal. This this type of charcoal is all natural, so there's really no fillers, no additives. You're getting the natural flavor of wood. It burns very slowly if you want to do it that way with the slow cooking, and it gives a lot of flavor off of it as well.
Is that the product of charcoal that you're talking about? Is that actually manufactured for this unit,
They manufacture
for the Green Egg?
just for the Green Egg.
Gotcha.
Well, I can't say just for the Green Egg, but primarily for their product. You
Yeah.
can use it in other products, but
Okay.
I'll be honest with you, I have one of these at my own home. I've cooked with it. I've tried other brands of charcoal, and it makes a huge difference. The temperature that you get off of this type of charcoal makes the big difference on the Green Egg. Because it's so well insulated, quite honestly, at this time of the year, I've even cooked outside in the wintertime, you can still get that up to 600 or 700 degrees on the coldest days of the year. The ceramic is so well insulated that the outdoor temperature really
Doesn't
makes
affect
makes no difference.
And it seems to be built very, very durable, that weather would deteriorate it.
You can, this basically at my house, it sits outside year round. As long as you keep it closed, you really don't have any issues with it. Really the key to it is there's 2 different points of airflow through it, and it's airflow that really is the whole key. On the front of the grill itself, there's a vent here. This vent is what controls the inflow of
Okay.
air into the firebox, and then you have it on the top here. You have a cast iron grate that actually allows for airflow out the top. And by adjusting those 2 types of things, that's what's allowing you to change the temperature inside the grill.
So the heat basically starts at the bottom and goes through the food, up through and out through here.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
I would say that, if you're really one of these barbecue aficionados and you really like to try new things, I'm just amazed at how many different things you can cook on that. There's all kinds of recipes. If you Google search Big Green Egg recipes, you can spend hours looking at food recipes.
Good.
They make a whole line of products. They make a whole line of sauces that they've tested over the years. They have a cookbook that we have in the store. It's a free magazine cookbook. It's some of the best chefs in the country come up with some ideas on how to cook it on your Green Egg. So really, I think these guys have really gotten they're act together as far as how to cook on a ceramic grill. Even if you're a novice, it's one of those things as you try it and use it more often, you become much more proficient at it.
Okay, and then you also have in the store Weber, the traditional cooker rather,
Right.
and charcoal. Does Weber make, excuse me, where you can actually put natural gas into the Webers or not?
Yes, yeah,
They
absolutely.
do.
Yeah,
They
you
have
can,
the attachments to convert.
yeah, there's an attachment you can use traditionally. I mean, many people think of it as a propane type of a grill, but they also have an attachment. Many of the houses around here that have homes that have a gas pipe from the inside of the house
And I'm
out.
one of them.
If you have that, it's really actually I always say it makes it even simpler for people to cook because
Yeah, it's
you never
hot
have to go
almost
out.
immediately.
Yeah, it's hot fast. You don't have to run out for propane tanks and exchange propane tanks, which we do, but you always have a continuous flow of gas to the grill, and it really makes it a nice way to cook.
And looking at the Weber series, I mean, you have everything from a tiny little Weber that you could put in the back of your car, put on your boat, or do whatever cooking in the campground, to this massive, great big 30-some inch diameter. I mean, and unbelievable, the ones that are more for your patio with the hoods open in the back there. I cannot believe the sizes of them that they've gone to now.
Well, I think Weber over the years has really gone from, they really started off with the old charcoal style
Yes.
of kettle, which was really their starting point, and they've migrated across the board to bigger kettles. They've migrated into what they call their Q series of grills, which if you're a condo owner in the area and you have limited space, they have a footprint that's very small. You can fit that grill, but you still get that outdoor cooking flavor. It allows you to do some cooking outside. Then they've got 3 different varieties of that grill just available just on that alone. It can come on a stand. It can come with a hookup for a propane to a larger propane tank, or if you want to make it convenient, you can use the small cylinders of propane. So there's a lot of different choices there.
And I noticed you have a lot of accessories, new things, new gadgets, and that's gone wild as well.
I can't keep up with it. Every time I go to a buying show, I'm overwhelmed by. I come back. It takes me weeks to kind of digest all of that information and kind of then figure out what we're going to bring into the store. But they have now devices that you can hook up in probes that you put into the meat. You hook it up to the grill itself. That grill sends a signal to your iPhone. Your iPhone then tells you when the meat reaches a certain temperature so that you don't overcook it or undercook it.
Unbelievable.
I mean, the technology is really going at a fast pace out there in the grilling marketplace right now.
Wow.
So,
Anything else that you want to mention with grilling?
well, I think the only other thing I'll really talk about a little bit is the Traeger type of grills,
Okay.
Which is kind of again, it's an outdoor barbecue type of grill, but the difference between the Green Egg and the Traeger really comes down to it's a little less attention is needed when you're cooking on there, in my opinion. It works with a pellet. They're seasoned wood pellets. It has a hopper or a feeder control box in it. That control box, you set your temperature. The hopper has a little auger in it that actually feeds the pellets into the fire area, and that fire area then maintains that temperature all the time. So it doesn't really require too much in the way of maintenance like we were talking about on the Green Egg, where you have to kind of control your temperatures. This actually maintains it perfectly with that electronic control box.
Okay.
And
Well, we're going to have the camera go in and do a little B-roll shot of what you're talking about. So
Sure.
You know, everything you just explained so people can actually see that.
And we carry all the accessories for the Traeger
that
grills,
too.
the bags of pellets, which has become it's really the fuel source for those.
Okay, good. So we will be off and onto another item. Okay, Dan, where the lawn food is at, and you have a huge amount of really a selection. What is the right thing to do? I mean, there are so many brands, there are so many. Can you kind of walk the viewers through a little bit of, I noticed you've got step 1, 2, 3, 4, a little bit about that. And one thing I do want to mention, it's so important that you spread it evenly and you use a spreader type device to
Absolutely.
do that. So I'm just going to let you take that.
Absolutely. The thing that, as we're probably, obviously, we're really early to be, you wouldn't want to put it down right now. Soil temperature is what drives fertilizing in the springtime. And so as those soil temperatures begin to rise with the warmer days, that's when you really want to start to get that. Usually we tell people around late April, mid to late April is where the soil temperatures start to get into the right temperature range to apply it. So the thing is what you're trying to do in the early springtime is actually fertilize your lawn, give your grass a starting point, the seed, the grass that's there, getting it started, but also preventing any dormant seeds, weed seeds that are in the lawn. And traditionally in this area, the biggest detriment to your lawn in the springtime is crabgrass. Crabgrass is a grass, as the name implies, but it's a seed. In the fall, it drops its seed into your lawn, so you don't see it anymore, and then that seed reseeds itself every spring. And so that's where what you're trying to do is stop that crabgrass from coming up, but let your grass, your regular grass, your good lawn grow through that. So the first application of fertilizer usually has those two preventatives in it. It has the fertilizer for your regular grass, and it has the preventative product in it that will stop that grass seed, that crabgrass seed from growing. Now the one caveat to that is if you have a poor lawn that you're planning on reseeding, you don't want to put regular grass seed down at that time. So it is only there to fertilize the lawn and to stop crabgrass. But if you put regular grass seed down, you're going to stop that grass seed from growing. Okay. Most people in this area, you know, if you maintain your lawn in the fall, your lawn's going to come back. You really don't need to be doing grass reseeding of your lawn with regular seeding product.
Well, shouldn't you be, in some cases, be watering after you lay the lawn food down?
Well, yes, absolutely. If you don't have rain within, say, 72 hours of applying it, you probably want to make sure it gets watered in. This is one of those products that needs to be watered in. With fertilizers and different types of fertilizers, certain ones require you don't want rain within 24 hours. This particular one, the first application, you want to apply, get it watered in, and stop that, put the barrier down, basically the barrier to stop that crabgrass from growing.
I understand.
That's what step one is really about in the fertilizers. Step one is also available if you want to just buy it bag by bag. We have it in that way. It's called Turf Builder with Halts. But you're really stopping the grass, that crabgrass from growing. Usually that goes down early springtime. And what we try to tell people, the easiest way I think to remember it is remember the holidays. So get that down early springtime, usually Mother's Day, usually 4th of July, and Labor Day, 1, 2, 3, 4. So once you've got the first application down, really the next application, the second application again is fertilizer, and that also comes with a product that stops broadleaf weeds, dandelions from growing in your lawn. Usually those products are easier, those types of weeds are easier to kill once they're up out of the grass. So once that second product there actually attaches to the leaves of the grass or of the weed, and once it's attached to that weed, within 24 hours, 12 to 24 hours, it's pretty much been absorbed by the plant, and that's what will stop or kill those weeds off. But it also is providing fertilizer as well. And again, like you asked before about watering, you would not want to water within 24 hours. After that, you want to water so that the fertilizer begins to take effect.
I understand. Good.
Step 3, basically, is a product that you would put down usually midsummer, and really it's really helping to strengthen the root system, maintain the greenness of the lawn, and really kind of just fortifying the earlier steps. If you've taken the earlier steps, you probably aren't going to have any weed issues. Generally, if you do have any weed issues, which are usually minor, you can hit those with spot weed control or liquid weed control. And then the last application really is the fourth application. And that fourth application around Labor Day is really building your lawn, building it for the springtime of next year, building the root system. It really focuses on, rather than top growth, it focuses on developing the root system so you have a good, healthy, deep-rooted lawn, which really helps prevent anything when you have these drought periods or periods of time where you can't water or restricted watering times. You have a deeper root system, your grass is actually going to be a stronger type of grass. It'll go dormant, but it won't die off on you.
Well, if you don't know much about feeding your lawn properly, if you just follow the steps, that'll take care of it.
That's
you
really
don't have to be a guru of grass.
I think that's what they've tried to do, is take that kind of that mystery out of the taking care of your lawn. If you follow those steps, there are other products if you have some issues in between that we can help people with. One of the things that's a big problem out in this area is grub control. And grubs in the lawn can really destroy a lawn. But really the key to that is applying a grub control product in addition to these 4 steps. But we usually tell people, it usually says season long. Usually you want to put the grub control down around early June, mid-June. That will actually give you the coverage for the time period where the grub is actually feeding in your lawn. So it'll cover the rest of the season all the way through the fall.
The grubs actually feed off the roots, so you don't see them on top of the lawn.
The only time you see them,
after they eat it is after the grass is destroyed, it's brown,
it's too late.
and you can actually roll it up off the ground.
Once it gets to that stage,
Yeah,
it's too late to do
over.
it. It's
over.
you're past the point of doing anything with it. So.
And as I mentioned early on, and you have every possible size of spreaders depending on the size of your lawn that you're trying to cover.
Yeah, I mean, with the spreaders, you've got a couple different options on these things, and really, what you're really looking at is a couple different types of spreaders. One of them is the traditional, what they call drop spreader. The fertilizer just drops between the 2 wheels there in a pattern, and that's really for smaller size lawns. That would be, in most cases, that would be maybe a lawn of a couple thousand square feet, a little bit more of the city type of lots or smaller type of lots. And then we also have products that are spreaders that are actually what they call broadcast spreaders. The broadcast spreaders actually are a couple different sizes there. There's 2 different sizes, but they generally, they take the width of the spreader, and then they usually spread about 2 feet on each.
Spread out like that.
And that gives you an evenness. And really, when you're putting it down, you want to allow about a 5-foot pathway on each side of it before you start the next row of it.
And it's, of course, covering a larger area faster.
Faster coverage in there. So those are the types of spreaders that we carry. And you really, if you apply the fertilizer, it's almost the old traditional thought of burning lawns with fertilizer is almost non-existent. Most of the fertilizers today, unless you directly pour a half a bag on the ground, but if you spread it out properly, you'll have no burning. You usually don't get any striping, which used to be.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, now they're all slow release.
They're all slow release.
So that stops the burning.
Yeah, so there's really no burning issues there.
Did we cover all the fertilizer products that you wanted to talk about for starting in spring?
Yeah, I think we've probably, some of the major chunks of what you need to think about in springtime.
Okay.
Grass seed, we carry the grass seed. We carry
I see it. There's plenty of it here.
We're locked and loaded with grass seed this year. So if you've got a lawn that maybe needs some help there, come on in and see us. We'll guide you through what products work best with each other. Some of the emphasis on the spring products this year is on soils. So how do you build your soil to build a healthy lawn? It's kind of from the foundation up on building your lawn. So we'll help you through that process.
Very good. And I know you have staff here when you walk in and you have a question. Your staff is very knowledgeable. They'll walk you to the right area and discuss and explain pretty much what you've said.
We try to do that, Ron. I send them to a lot of training sessions. Our people from Scotts put on training sessions. Our corporate people put on training sessions. So we spend a lot of time training, making sure people know what they're talking about when they come into the store.
Dan, thank you again for allowing Channel 4 to come in.
It's always my
and
pleasure.
Talk to you. And for the viewers, we'll see you at the next episode. We will come back in and we'll talk about midsummer type products that you have and making life easier to owning a home. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time.